Hey guys, I'm Chef D-Max. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today, Moroccan tomato jam. It sounds complicated, but it's not. So click subscribe if you're not doing that already. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and ring that bell, and I'll send you new things I have coming up. So stay with me for Moroccan tomato jam. It's a great condiment. Okay guys, I want to teach you how to make a quick condiment for your fridge. This kind of thing, you can put a mason jar of this in your fridge. It'll last for months, and it's really simple. It's also a nice gift if you want to give a cool little jam or chutney to somebody, or you want to bring it as a part of a cheese board or that kind of thing. It's awesome. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with some onions. Okay, so I'm going to take the onion, I'm going to cut straight down because I want to make a nice dice from these. Okay, so I'm going to cut that straight down and then back here horizontally like this. I'll probably, I don't need to make it too small because we're going to cook this down pretty well, but I want to probably cut it. And you want to be really careful when you're coming towards your fingers like that to go slow and gentle. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in like this. You see how that works? Okay, and I've got a nice dice, right? Doesn't that look perfect? All right, so once we get that, I'm going to do this other side here too, because I need the equivalent of one onion. Okay, these end pieces like this I use for other stuff. You can try to cut it like the end pieces perfectly too if you want. Sometimes I have so much stuff I'm cooking in the kitchen, like when I have end pieces like that, I keep it for scraps for other stuff, whether it's stocks, things like that. But when you're at home and you're not cooking that much, then you want to just keep it and just use it all. To use it all, I'll show you what you do. You cut down like this, right? So get your nice dice, and then whoops, when you get to this end piece like this, just cut it into like thirds and then turn it the other way and cut back. And you'll get a nice little dice up. So you want everything to be small. Again, this is going to get cooked down for about an hour, so it doesn't have to be perfect because you're gonna lose the shape of it in this dish anyway. Okay, so I've got that cut up. Now I've got a hot pan here. And I'm going to go ahead and put some oil in that. And I'm going to start to saute this up. Okay, next what we're going to do is get ready some garlic and ginger to go in this. Garlic and ginger are a really good accompaniment in this. This Moroccan flavor has got all of these beautiful flavors of pepper. It's going to have onion, and then the tomato, and then ginger, all these sweet spices. So it's sweet and savory spices, and that's what gives us Moroccan feel, because in Morocco there's a nice blend between sweet and savory spices as well as chilies. So we'll get this going. I need to grab a spoon. I'll be right back. Okay, I got my spoon, and I'm just going to saute this up nice. I'm going to turn it down really low a little bit because I've got it pretty high here. And I don't want to put that much dark color on it. I just want to sweat these down nice. Now, while this is sweating down, we're going to do our garlic. See, I've got some beautiful garlic pieces here. I'm going to just grate those on this. This is a little kind of plate that I got from Latin America. I got it from Mexico, I think. And it's really nice. It's a ceramic plate, and it's got these little ridges on it. You can buy this probably online as well. What's nice about it is you just take a piece of garlic or ginger like this, and you grate it on there, and it really pulverizes it and makes it into a pulp. And that's what we're looking to do in this. We're looking to make a pulp out of that stuff. So you can see how it just cracks it. You can't really smash the garlic though too much, because otherwise it doesn't work well on this. You have to really have the garlic whole and nice firm pieces, okay? So once I do that, I'm gonna put this right in here with my onion. See, I'll take the piece of ginger and do that. Now I've got a 2-inch piece of ginger, and I'll do the same thing. I'm just going to grate it on here. Now I want to stir this up. Keep stirring this, make sure that we don't get... Now, I don't want any of this to brown up too much, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of water in, like that. The water is going to kind of stop the cooking, make sure it doesn't burn on the bottom. Because when I started that, it was a little, I got the pan hot first, and so it got a little bit warm. So now what this does, just gives us time. Water like that gives us time. So we'll let that water disperse as we get this ginger going. So with this ginger, I'm just gonna grate it. You can see how it makes this nice pulp. I'm just gonna push the pulp in here, okay? And what it does, the hairy part of the ginger stays together on the piece here, and it just gives you the pulp. That's what's really nice about it. You don't get all of this hair on there too. You see the hair is on here, but not in the pulp. So we take the pulp and we put the pulp in here a little bit at a time. I make this super gingery. I think that's what gives this a real exotic flavor, is the ginger. So I like to put my ginger in there. And with this, I'm just gonna keep lightly juicing it. We don't want to lose any of the liquid, because the liquid is this ginger juice. As you guys know, for those of you who take like those healthy ginger shots in the morning, you know how great that tastes. And we don't want to lose any of that. We want to put that all in this dish. So with this, I'm going to continue to just pulp it down. Now, I love doing this, you know, like this time in Florida, we have a lot of cherry tomatoes. I have some cherry tomatoes in the yard. Here's some I got some cherry tomatoes right here that I picked for this dish. And they make a really nice, fresh, tomato jam like this. So whenever I get an excess amount like that, I always put them into a cool jam or do something with them so I don't waste them. Okay, so now I'm done with that, and I want to just go ahead and stir this up nice. Okay. Now I want this liquid to cool off or cook out just a little bit. I let my my onions, garlic, and ginger kind of flavor come together. And we're gonna let this cook for about a minute or two, and then we'll be back to see what it looks like. Okay, if it's about a minute, and you can see all the liquid is kind of cooked out of these onions now. At this point, they're gonna start to stick and brown in the pan, and then if we were deglazing it, we could make like a really nice caramelized onion. But we're not looking to do that. We're looking to take now all of our herbs. And our herbs with this, or not herbs, our spices. Our spices with this, I'm gonna use smoked paprika. Now smoked paprika this is a nice Spanish smoked paprika, which, you know, is right across from Morocco, and a lot of trading went on with these spices. But this beautiful smoked paprika is wonderful for this kind of a dish. It's gonna add a nice smoky flavor, as well as that beautiful, light peppery flavor, okay? The allspice is one that you would normally think that would go into like something like this with other savory spices, but that's what makes it interesting, is to put some allspice in there. And the allspice, it's like a teaspoon of allspice. It's really a half a teaspoon. So it's a half a teaspoon of allspice. It's 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. And then clove is gonna also be a half teaspoon because that's also a very strong one. So clove and, oh wow, the smell of clove and, now I wanna make sure I don't burn these, because these spices are brown like this. We don't wanna burn those, right? We just wanna toast them, right? Now, cinnamon's another one that we don't wanna put too much. We're gonna put a teaspoon, right? A half teaspoon, excuse me. So these are all half teaspoons, and these are all half tablespoons. Now, the spices like cumin and coriander, we can put more of, and so that's where we're gonna go with a half tablespoon of those. So everything's a half today for some reason, right? Probably because I'm only doing a couple pints of tomatoes. And there's our cumin. So we have coriander and cumin, okay? Cinnamon, okay? All of those beautiful spices together, okay? Now, so this doesn't burn, I'm gonna put water in. Again, water is a medium to give us time, right? It's not, if you got a situation where you're putting your stuff in there, you gotta go find something and you don't have time, you know, you're gonna burn something, you can either 1, turn it off, or 2, add a little bit of water to it, and that'll give it time for you to get stuff done. We don't really need to overly toast these spices because they're cooked in a liquid. They're gonna bloom anyway. It's not going in like a dry salad or anything. So we had our sweet spices, our clove, our allspice, our cinnamon, half teaspoon of those. Our savory spices, our coriander, our cumin, and our smoked paprika, those are a half tablespoon of those. Okay, now we need salt. So I'm gonna put a nice tablespoon of salt. we can always resalt this at the end of the dish. And I use coconut sugar. I buy these coconut sugars in like little clumps. So this is probably like a quarter cup of sugar, of coconut sugar. Now you can add brown sugar if you want, if you don't have this. I'm gonna cut this up so it just melts faster. So I just take this block and cut it up. Be gentle with yourself and the cutting board, because you could easily cut your finger by doing this too fast, right? And I always like to taste it. Wow. Coconut sugar has a really nice flavor. Date sugar would be good in this too, especially Morocco and dates are a big combination. But the coconut sugar they have a lot of too, and that's going to give you the sweetness in this that it needs to balance kind of spicy, sweet, salty, savory. Now, if you don't have hot peppers, you can put cayenne pepper in this. So you can just put a cayenne pepper. Harissa would be nice as well. I use these fresh Fresno peppers, okay? So I'm gonna take these Fresno peppers and I'm gonna cut these lengthwise like this. I'm not gonna cut them ultra small. And I'm not gonna pull any of the excess seeds out because I do want some of the heat, right? We want this to be spicy. So I'll put these peppers in like this. You can see, we're letting all these spices and the sugar cook down together with that little bit of water that's in there, right? And we're gonna cut this around. Now I don't want to put all of those seeds in there because we don't want to make this too overly spicy. We want to be able to have a nice tablespoon of this with cheese and stuff. We don't want to burn them out. It's not a hot sauce or a hot sauce. You know, it's just a little bit of a slightly spicy, sweet condiment, right? So with this, I'm going to cut around it. You guys can see how I cut around the actual pods of seeds. But I do have seeds here on my board, you can see, and I'll put those in here, and I'm not worried about that because that's going to give us some spice. After we do this, we're going to take our cherry tomatoes. Now I've got some beautiful cherry tomatoes in front of me here that have been washed and cleaned, right? You want to wash them really good. And you could leave them whole. If they're smaller, you can leave them whole. If they're bigger, you can cut them in half. But if you cut them in half, they're going to break down a little bit, probably faster. I tend to not like to puree this jam when it's done and leave it a little chunky like that. If you guys want to puree, you can puree it easily and do that too. Now, with this, I would just say, I like to go ahead and just cut them in half like this and put these halves in. So I'm going to cut all of my cherry tomatoes in half like this and add them to this jam right now. And then I'll show you what this looks like. We're going to finish it with some vinegar. So we'll do that right when I get back. So I'll see you guys in a second while I get these tomatoes done. Okay guys, I'm done with my cherry tomatoes. You can see how I've added these in. And I'm going to toss in my onions. You could really put 2, 3, you could even put 4 pints of tomatoes in here if you wanted to. I had 2 pints in here, so you know that's what I put. And we're gonna cook this now. Now I want to add some vinegar to this. That's what makes this thing a chutney. It's got sugar, it's got salt, it's got spice, it's got vinegar, right? So I'm gonna add a quarter cup of apple cider vinegar, okay, to this. Now, we're gonna let that cook down. When we're done with this, and after this is cooked for an hour, we're gonna taste it. If it needs a little bit, I always like at the end to put a little shot, even if it's a cap full of vinegar, for fresh vinegar flavor. It's always really nice. But you can see we have enough liquid in here because I already added some of the water because I had to stop it from cooking for a second. But I would always add water into this recipe. And why? Because you need it to be juicy like this, okay? And it needs to simmer down. Now, I'm gonna take my cover, put that on there, and I'll turn this down a little bit, and we're gonna let this simmer for an hour, and I'll show you what it looks like when we get back. Okay guys, we're back. It was an hour later. I took all of it out of the container, and you can see it's kind of thickened up to a nice, almost like a paste. Now I did taste this, and I really like the texture of it. The thing that I did different in this one is I saw those beautiful red Fresno peppers, the red jalapeños, and they look so beautiful. I'm like, I'm gonna switch this in my recipe, and I love the fresh flavor of the heat that comes from those, but they do have a little bit of chew to their skin. So I'm gonna puree this up instead. Now, if you want to leave it a chunky one, I would suggest not using the Fresnos and putting a teaspoon of cayenne pepper in as your heat instead. If you have another chili that you like sambal is another favorite of mine, you probably would have to put almost like a half a tablespoon of that to get the same heat as a teaspoon of cayenne. But you can alternate that and see what happens for yourself. But when I taste it, the salt seems about right. The heat seems right. The sugar seems right. I'm just going to put a little teaspoon more of vinegar in that, and I'm going to puree this up. And let's take a look at it and see what it looks like when it's done. Okay, I'm back from pureeing this. Woo, you gotta let the steam come out very slow. Don't just pull it off. Unscrew it, let the steam come popping out, then you can release. You see how hot that is? Okay, now we want to taste it. Look at this puree now. Wow. I think it has a perfect balance of sweet, spicy, has acidity to it from the vinegar, but has that fresh vinegar taste to it. So at this point, I'm just going to take this. Now, you're saying, what can I use this for? Well, this is great. This is a great cold. I serve this cold too. And as it gets colder, the flavors really kind of come out. So I serve this with either grilled cheese, but I make a savory grilled cheese with with either Gruyere, or I make it with brie and some white truffles, and I'll serve it with that. I'll serve it with grilled chicken. I'll serve it with pork. It's great with pork chops. So you do a nice sauteed or grilled pork chop, and you just put like a nice spoonful of this next to it. Even meats. It's really good with fatty stuff because you have the acidity of the tomato, and it goes great. You can put it on your charcuterie boards. Look at that. 2 pints of tomatoes makes exactly a nice little jar here of my puree, and that's what I'm looking for. A perfect balance of flavors. Great way to take your tomatoes in your garden and let them continue to make you happy all the way through the rest of the year, okay? So don't throw those away. Pick them up, or if you're at a farmer's market and you see really a lot of tomatoes at a great price, cherry tomatoes, this is a great thing to make with it. You can make a bigger batch, give it away for the holiday for friends and stuff, and it's always something people are going to love to have. So I hope you enjoy it. You don't need to can it. You could just let it cool like this, and then once it's cold, then you put the lid on it, put a little marker on there so you know what it is in your fridge. It's sitting in your fridge for 3 months, and it's always going to be good. So great condiment, Moroccan tomato jam. Hope you liked it. I'll see you back in the kitchen soon. Give me comments and questions if you have any, all right? And I'll see you back soon.